Hello, everyone, and I just want to say welcome to the Stockholm International Film Festival and this face-to-face for the movie Come On, Come On, which is part of the Icons section of the film festival. My name is Victor Järner, and I am a freelance film and TV writer, among other things. And as I mentioned, today we're going to talk about the intimate drama Come On, Come On, which is written and directed by Mike Mills. The mind behind beautiful films such as Thumbsucker, Beginners, and 20th Century Women. So without further ado, Mike, welcome to this face-to-face.
It's really nice to be here. I wish I could be there in person. It'd be sweet.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna jump right in, Mike. So Beginners is, as you have said, partially about your father, and 20th Century Women is partially about your mother. So who or what in your life was the primary inspiration for this film? Come On, Come On.
Oh, well, shockingly, my kid, right? Or me and my kid's life. But being a parent, being a father, and just the whole wide world that your kid introduces you to, and the sort of reintroduction to the world that a kid brings upon you. I wanted to write about that and about like the very intimate space of being with a kid, like baths and tucking into bed and talking about life in a very small way. And then to sort of like expand that out across sort of like a big American landscape with a lot of American kids.
Interesting. Yeah. So with that in mind, there's always a huge autobiographical element to your work in some degree. So you invite your audience to a very private, intimate place of yourself, more so than other filmmakers, I would say. So how do you feel about that part of it?
So like, do you know István Zászló, the Hungarian director who did like Love Film, amazing 1970 film. He also did a film called, I think it's called Father. And that feels that's so autobiographical and personal. I feel like Fellini is incredibly autobiographical and personal. There's so many people who do that. I feel like early Woody Allen is very much like doing that. So how do I feel about that? I love it when other people do it. It makes me pay attention. It makes me feel like there's a lot at stake. It makes me feel like they're coming from a very lived, real place. And I often do it because I don't feel like I'm such a great, amazing writer. I'm a pretty good listener. I'm a pretty good like editor of things I've heard and seen. And my best chance of making a decent film is coming from something I really know and have lived with and can report on from like a real close distance.
Yeah, I can confirm that you're a pretty great writer also, Mike. So you're pretty humble, but yeah, you're a great writer. And there also is a very, for me, there's a specific style and like tone to your films. And while filmmakers like, for example, Wes Anderson, there's a very obvious, very specific kind of style. I think that's not the case with you, but it's still there. So I just wonder, is that a conscious process for you? How do you go about creating that style or that tone?
That's interesting. It's probably equally unconscious and conscious, right? Because there's so much that a filmmaker, any filmmaker, not just me, right? Your habits or your things attracted to, right, they come from your DNA. And especially if you're a writer director, you're just going to see a lot of that person's soul in there. So there's a lot of things that are kind of just like my personality, right? Or like how I approach people, or how I approach a location, or how I approach like emotions. And then part of it is like, I really love my film ancestors, right? The people who came before me. And I have like a relationship with these people in my mind, right? So like Olmi's film Fidanzati, or like Wim Wenders' Alice in the Cities, or like just Satie's music, or early drawings by David Hockney. Like all those are kind of like with me as I'm making these films. And my references are the things I love, like Fellini. I've always loved Fellini, right? So Fellini's in all my movies, or me sort of chatting with Fellini's in all my movies. Not that I don't think anyone would describe me as like a Fellini-esque person, but I am, or I would. I feel very indebted. I feel very indebted to him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
And since you both write and direct your films, you're very much the author of the work that you do. And but when you bring in an actor, like in this case Joaquin Phoenix, what does an actor like him bring to that equation when you make this film?
So much. I think people make the mistake of thinking because I write from a very personal place, or I write about people I know and love, that I'm like, do it like this and be like this and put your hand here. And I'm really quite the opposite. Because I've come from such a personal place, I really need to like give it to the actor and get it out of my system and make it public and make it not a memoir and make it a shared and shareable piece of writing, right? So, and Joaquin is so smart and so funny and so insightful. We had the best time just going over the script over and over, and then he or just something would bump it, and I'd be like, what, you know, and what's the matter? And the more I listened to him, the better the script got. So I was really, he had such a hand in this film. I really feel like I made the film with Joaquin, and not just about his character Johnny, but the whole film, all the characters. He was the funnest playmate I've had in a very long time.
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about Woody Norman as well, because child actors can be a really tricky thing to get right in filmmaking, I think. And so,
Uh-huh.
what do you think that Woody has that maybe other child actors don't have? What's the special thing about him, you think?
Woody's just very knows himself really well, or is very comfortable with himself, and isn't like performing for the camera. You know, isn't like I got to do something for the camera. And so I think that's what people are picking up on. But then also, I kind of feel like it's unfair to like describe Woody as a child actor, or even like as a child,
Yeah.
or probably anyone, right? Or it's probably unfair to call Joaquin an adult, or to call me an adult. Like I kind of believe we're all of our ages at once, and all our ages hang around. But like Woody, I'm sure, like I'm gonna be Woody's advocate here, right? Woody wouldn't want us to think like, oh, that's a child actor performance. Woody would want us to think, oh, that was an actor performing. And Woody's not dissimilar from the way Joaquin works or the way Gabby works. And that's really true. So, or Woody's performance isn't like a kid's performance. You know, like there's scenes where Woody cries, right? Woody cries on every take on the same line.
Yeah.
So it's acting. You know, and it's like a very
Impressive. Yeah.
adult form of acting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that, yeah, understand. That's a really good point to not just put it in the box of child acting. So yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
And also when it comes to the visuals of the film, I think it's interesting as well. The film is shot at this gorgeous black and white cinematography. What was the thinking behind that? Because you did this short film, the National Alicia Vikander short film,
Yeah, yeah.
which was black and white as well. Was this some kind of continuation from that, or what was the thinking there?
No, I was writing this film and I knew I wanted in black and white, so I wanted to practice. And I also wanted to do something, and I love black and white. I'd be pretty happy shooting black and white forever. It's my preferred way. But this movie, when I first started seeing this movie, it's really funny. Okay, this is interesting. I just found this. This is how I started this movie. Can you see that?
So like storyboards.
Well, but I didn't even know what the story was.
No, okay.
But it's just like this. I just kept having this image of like like a male, like an adult figure and a kid figure.
Yeah.
Right. I just kept having that image, and I was like, I knew I wanted to write about my kid, but I didn't know what it was. And so that image to me is like a very archetypal image, right? It's almost like a Jungian mythological image, the child and the adult going through time, space, society together. And that image to me was black and white. I don't know exactly why. I think black and white, because black and white is a crazy abstraction from reality, right? It's like really weird, actually. And it pulls you into story, it pulls you out of reality and into like some meta place. And that meta place just had more room for me to kind of go back and forth between this is kind of a fable and this is like kind of a documentary. And I like when a film has like opposing forces like that. So it's a bit like that. And then black and white, I kept telling myself the film is a drawing, not a painting. Like it has the quickness and the intimacy of a drawing rather than a painting. And then black and white, when I see the film now, it has what I wanted. Black and white can also have this kind of like softness or like gentleness to it. Like
Yeah.
like again, like sati is very big for me, like the space of sati, right? Like you have room to kind of enter the music. There's a lot of space. And I feel like black and white gives you like room to kind of enter the image in a way that's, I don't know, like gentler or something. And
Yeah.
that fit it for me.
And it looks beautiful as well.
Yeah,
That's
Robbie
a
did
plus.
yeah,
Yeah.
Robbie did an amazing job, and it was so great to like go to 4 different cities, you know, like really go to 4 different cities, and that's another way. I really love the contradiction in the film. Yes, the film is really small and intimate, but it's actually the most epic film I've ever made. You know, it has like the most people, the most locations,
Yeah.
the biggest scenes, you know. So I like that paradox a lot.
Yeah, and it worked out really well. So,
Oh, that's nice.
and
Yeah.
I just I have a question also, like more kind of the industry side of the whole thing, because there's this raging debate about the streaming cinema wars, if you will, about the now during COVID especially, but also has been brewing for the last couple of years. What's your stance on that? Is it how important is it for your personal filmmaking style, the theatrical experience? How important is it for your films?
That's a complicated question in a weird way. Well, there's like, obviously, ideally, everyone would go to a theater and have that kind of amazing experience. Like my films just been to some really amazing theaters, like Alice Tully Hall at Lincoln Center. And there's nothing like that. You know what I mean? There's like, I don't know how many people, it's like 2,000 people or something like that. And it's, the pandemic has done nothing but reinforce like how special that is. It's like it's a community situation. It's a shared situation. And films, I really more and more I feel like films do come from like the tradition of magic, like, you know, like the Maisel brothers or the Millais brothers. Like it came out of, it's a magic trick, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's a theatrical magic trick. So that's so well suited to be like a joined communal situation. So but I feel like that's just going away.
Yeah, it's interesting with COVID, as you said, like it's reinforced that how important it is and what it means, because when people go back they realize how much they missed it perhaps,
Oh
and
my God.
what it meant to them
Yeah. So,
after the lockdown period and everything like that. Yeah.
yeah. So we've been to Telluride Film Festival and New York Film Festival in Mill Valley. And so as a director, right, you're on the side of the stage, and then you enter and you look out, and every room has been full. Like the theater's full of people. They're all masked. It's emotional now
Yeah.
after the last 2 years, just to see all those people together, or like, oh, they all came to see your film.
Yeah.
And to risk sitting together and just deal with the
Yeah.
stuff of sitting together. I get all choked up. I get like ridiculously emotional, like seeing
Yeah.
that. And
It's even more special now. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but okay, but I will say something that's contradicts that. Most of the movies I watch are old, and I have a large collection of DVDs and a
yeah.
TV. And it's a very intimate thing. I sit in my bed and I watch Wings of Desire over and over again, or I watch Casablanca over and over again. And I do also love that. I love the intimacy of that. It's like reading a book or something.
Yeah, me too, the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also, the final question I just want to ask you, because there's an interesting, I think when you look at your filmography, there's this interesting thing with the rhythm of 5 to 6 years between your films. Like there seems to be kind of a pattern, perhaps. And
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder, is that kind of a coincidence, or is it your process? Like you need 5 6 years to make a film and to get where you need to get to do it.
I wish it was like 3 4 years. That would be great.
Yeah.
It's not, my life isn't exactly as I want it to be at all. So in each one, there was a different reason why it took that long. But I'm in no big hurry, right? Making a film is
No.
such a huge opportunity. Making a film is such a huge privilege, right? Being a middle-aged white guy making films is like, there's enough space being taken up. The world has enough films. It's not like there's an emergency where I need to make more films. So, and I do feel like it's just such a fucking big deal. So why, I don't need to make 15 movies, you know, in my life. I need to make the ones I can try to make the best. But then there's also something always hangs you up. Like 20th Century Woman, I had my kid right in the middle of writing the script, and then I often get really lost writing my scripts. It takes me like 2 or 3 years. I get completely, I have to put it, I think I failed, I have to put it away, or it takes a really long time to get casting, like or to get financing. It takes like a year, you know, you're just waiting around trying to get it to work out. In this case, it was like 2016, like really hit me hard, and everything that happened in America, and I just didn't know what to make or how to be an artist or what to do. So I spent like a year plus just like being really lost. So yeah, I wish it was shorter, but who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of rad that it takes this long. The world has enough stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah. So like in 5-6 years, we can expect the next film, the next Mike Mills.
3 years. Let's just do it. Let's just make it 3 years this
3
time.
years.
Let's do it. Yeah. I think, but
I dare you 3 years.
Well, every time I want to do that. So sometimes the more I push it, the more depressed I get, or the more it fails. It does. Okay, hear about that. You'll like this answer. The older I get, the more I feel like I actually have no control over the film or the film's life, or what the film is and what it does. I have no control over how the film comes to me. It's really like its own little spiritual entity that like comes and it summons certain things. It summons people, summons reactions. They're not under my control. So I really have no control over this timeline, you know? And I honestly, I really enjoy like going to film festivals, talking to journalists, like going out in the world. I don't really love being alone in this office forever. So I wish it was shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love your work, Mike. And so I just want to say thank you for your time. And it was a pleasure to talk to you. And congrats on the film.
Thanks so much. Thanks
thank you very much.
Everyone who came to see the film.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, Mike.
Okay.
Bye.